You think your financial problem is technical? He thinks that if he learned to invest better, to budget better, to earn more, everything would be resolved. You're chasing symptoms while ignoring the illness. Your problem is not technical. It's mentality. It's the mental operating system that runs silently behind every decision you make. And as long as this system is corrupt, no matter how many tactics you learn, you will continue to sabotage yourself. I'm going to tell you something that no one wants to admit. The difference between rich and poor is not mainly education, opportunity, or luck. It's mentality. It's how you think about money, value, risk, time, and trade-offs. Two people with the same resources, the same opportunities, the same intelligence will have completely different results based purely on how they think about the economy of their own lives. One sees a world full of scarcity, threats, and zero-sum games. Another sees a world full of opportunity, value creation, and mutually beneficial exchanges. A victim mentality operation. Another agent mentality. One is concerned with justice. Another effective one. And these differences in mentality produce chasms in results. And the harshest truth? Your economic mindset was implanted in you by people who failed economically. Your parents, your teachers, your culture, your formative experiences have all conspired to install a mental program that guarantees failure. And you don't even know you're running this program because it's so fundamental to your thinking that it feels like objective reality rather than programmed interpretation. Let me explain something to you about how mentality works. You don't see the world as it is. You see the world through mental filters. These filters determine what you notice, what you ignore, how you interpret events, and what actions seem reasonable. And if your filters are calibrated wrong, you will make consistently bad decisions while believing you're being rational. When I was young, I worked with two men in similar financial situations. Both earned little. Both came from poor families. Both had debts. But their mindsets were polar opposites. First, he saw every transaction as someone trying to scam him. I saw employers as exploiters. I saw rich people as thieves. He saw the system as an arranged game where he would never have a chance. So he didn't try. He complained, blamed, and he remained poor throughout my life. Secondly, each transaction has the potential to create value. He saw employers as people who would pay him more if he delivered more value. I saw rich people as people who solved problems at scale. He saw a system as a set of rules that could be learned and used. So he learned. Tried it. Failed. Adjusted. And in 10 years, he had built his own business and assets that he never dreamed possible at first. Same initial situation. Opposing mentalities. Completely different destinations. And if you think this is an anomaly, you are mistaken. This is standard. That's the rule. Mentality predicts results more than any other factor. Now let's specifically dissect the components of an economic mindset that works versus a mindset that fails. And I'm going to be brutally honest about which one you probably have. Scarcity versus abundance mentality. Scarcity mentality sees the world as a fixed pie where someone getting more means you getting less. Sees competition as a threat. Sees the success of others as your failure. Sees wealth as a zero-sum game. This produces envy, resentment, a focus on redistribution rather than creation. Abundance mindset sees the world as expandable. See how the cake can grow. See what value can be created. See that voluntary exchanges benefit both sides. Sees the success of others as proof of possibility. This produces collaboration, inspiration, focus on creating more rather than dividing existing ones. Which one do you have? Be honest. When you see someone successful, is your first reaction, how can I learn from them, or they probably cheated? If it's Monday, you have a scarcity mentality. And this mentality guarantees that you will remain poor because you focus on slices rather than growth. Victim versus agent mentality. Victim mentality sees external forces as determinants. Bad economy, unfair government, exploitative boss, luck against you. There's always an external reason for failure. There's always someone to blame. This produces passivity because if you don't control the outcome, why try? Agent mentality sees you as a causal force. Recognize external limitations, but focus on what you can control. Takes full responsibility for results. Don't waste energy blaming. Spends energy adjusting approach. This produces action because if you control the outcome, experimentation makes sense. Which one do you have? When something goes wrong financially, do you analyze your decision or blame the circumstance? If it's second, you're a victim. And I saw great women don't build wealth because they gave up power. Short-term versus long-term mindset. Short-term mentality values immediate gratification over future security. Value pleasure today over freedom tomorrow. Make decisions based on present sensation. It discounts future so severely that it is basically invisible. Long-term mindset visualizes future vividly. You feel pain in the future if you suffer the consequences of bad decisions today. Sacrifice the present to build the future. Understands composition and patience. Which one do you have? Do you eat marshmallows now or wait to have two later? Your literal answer to this question as a child predicts financial results in adulthood. And most people eat marshmallows. Consumer versus producer mentality. Consumer mentality sees the world as a source of things to buy, identity constructed through consumption, status demonstrated through possessions, value measured by what you can buy. This produces an infinite cycle of earning to spending. Producer mentality sees the world as an opportunity to create value. Identity built through capabilities, status is irrelevant or derived from contribution. Value measured by what it can create. This produces a cycle of create, capture value, reinvest. Which one do you have? When you receive money, your first thought is what to buy or what to build. Most think about consuming, and you're stuck in a perpetual hamster wheel. Employee versus entrepreneur mentality. Employee mentality sees safety as a priority, prefers predictability over opportunity, avoids risk even when risk is asymmetric in favor. Potential exchange of upside for the illusion of security. This produces dependence on a single source of income controlled by others. Entrepreneurial mindset sees opportunity as a priority, prefers potential over predictability, accepts calculated risk when upside justifies it, values control over illusory security. This produces multiple sources of income and real resilience. Which one do you have? Would you prefer a guaranteed salary of $5,000 or the opportunity to earn $0 to $15,000 based on performance? Most people choose it guaranteed, and it limits potential permanently. Fixed versus growth mindset. Fixed mindset believes that capabilities are static. You are or are not good at something. Failure is evidence of permanent limitation. So avoid challenges that may expose inadequacy. This produces stagnation. Growth mindset believes that capabilities are developable. Failure is feedback for adjustment. A challenge is an opportunity for expansion. This produces continuous improvement and eventual mastery. Which one do you have? When you fail at something financial, do you think, I'm not good with money, or I haven't learned that skill yet? First is fixed mindset, which guarantees you never improve. Cost versus investment mentality. Cost mentality sees every expense as pain. Focus on minimizing exits. Sees education as expensive. See tools as waste. See help as luxury. This produces a false economy where you save pennies and lose dollars. Investment mentality distinguishes cost from investment. Cost is an expense that does not return value. Investment is an expense that multiplies capacity. Education that increases income is an investment. A tool that multiplies productivity is an investment. Help that frees up time for greater value is an investment. This produces accelerated growth. Which one do you have? Do you avoid all expenses equally or analyze ROI? Most avoid everything and get stuck doing low-value work because they don't invest in multipliers. Price versus value mentality. Price mentality focuses only on monetary cost, always buy cheaper, does not consider quality, durability, or total cost of ownership. This produces repeat purchases of crap that cost more over time. Value mindset analyzes total cost, including time, quality, and longevity. Sometimes you pay more initially for something that lasts and performs better. Understand that cheap can be expensive. This produces real long-term savings. Which one do you have? Do you buy a 20-inch shoe that lasts 6 months or a 100-inch shoe that lasts 5 years? Mathematics favor second, but most buy first repeatedly. Zero-sum versus positive mentality. Zero-sum mentality views all economic interaction as competition. For you to win, someone else must lose. This produces conflict, distrust, and lost opportunities for mutually beneficial collaboration. Positive-sum mentality sees that value can be created through exchange. Both sides can win. Specialization and trade increase total wealth. This produces cooperation, trust, and an explosion of opportunity. Which one do you have? Do you see employers as exploiters or exchange partners? Do you see the customer as a target or collaborator? Your answer determines how much value you can create and capture. Deserving versus creation mentality. Deserving mentality believes that you deserve things for exist. He deserves a good salary. It deserves security. It deserves comfort. And he gets indignant when he doesn't receive it. This produces resentment and passivity waiting for the world to deliver what you deserve. Creation mindset understands that the world owes you nothing. You get paid in proportion to the value you create. Want more? Create more. This produces an obsessive focus on increasing value delivered because it is the only way to increase value received. Which one do you have? When you don't get promoted, do you feel indignant, or do you analyze what you need to do differently to create more value? First, it is merit that leads to nothing. Second is creation that leads to everything. Conformity versus originality mentality. Compliance mindset follows standard script. School, job, retirement. Do what everyone does. Don't question. Don't try it. Accept conventional wisdom. This produces average results because you are doing what millions are doing. Originality mentality questions everything. Forehead. Try it. She's willing to look strange. Recognize that extraordinary results come from unconventional approaches. This produces outlier potential. Which one do you have? Do you follow the accepted path or build your own? Most follow and stay on average because average is the definition of following the path. Now here's the truth that will hurt you. You probably have mostly bad mindsets because they are standard. They are what society installs in you since childhood, and you never questioned it, never checked. Just operated with standard programming and wondered why you don't get different results. Changing mentality is more difficult than learning technique because mindset is deep. It's identity. It's how you see yourself and the world. Changing this requires questioning the foundations of your thinking. It requires admitting that much of what you believe is wrong. It requires massive discomfort to operate differently from how it has always operated. But it's the only change that really matters, because mindset drives behavior. Behavior drives results. You can know all the tactics in the world, but if mindset is wrong, you won't execute tactics, or it will perform inconsistently. Or it will sabotage when it starts to work because the result does not align with identity. I saw people learn exactly what to do financially and what not to do. Why? Because mentality didn't allow it. Scarcity mentality prevented investing because it saw risk instead of opportunity. Victim mentality prevented taking responsibility. Short-term mentality did not allow sacrificing the present. Knowledge was no problem. Mentality was, and it's for you too. So how do you change mindset? First, recognize that you have a problem. Stop defending your current beliefs. Stop rationalizing why you think the way you do. Accept that your mindset was installed without your conscious consent and may be fundamentally wrong. Second, expose yourself to different mindsets. Read biographies of financially successful people, not to copy tactics, but to absorb mentality. Notice how they think about risk, opportunity, failure, value. Notice the mental filters they use. Compare with your filters. Question, which is more useful. Third, experiment with behaviors derived from a different mindset, even if it seems wrong. Act as if you have an abundance mindset, even if you feel scarcity. Act like an agent, even if you feel like a victim. Behavior can precede belief. Sometimes you act your way into new mindset instead of thinking your way. Fourth, monitor your internal dialogue. Every time you notice victim thinking, challenge it. Every time you notice thoughts of scarcity, reframe. Every time you notice short-term thinking, force yourself to consider the long-term. You are reprogramming your mental operating system. It requires conscious attention because old patterns will try to regain control. Fifth, associate with people who have the mindset you want. Mentality is contagious. If you spend time with victims, you absorb victim mentality. If you spend time with agents, you absorb agency. Choose your social environment deliberately based on mindset, not comfort. Sixth, accept that changing your mindset is a process of years, not days. You will relapse. You will catch yourself thinking old ways. This is normal. It's not failure, it's process. Keep correcting, keep exposing, keep experimenting. Slowly, new standard becomes default. And here's what no one tells you. Changing mindsets is painful because it requires killing versions of yourself. It requires admitting that much of what you believed was wrong. It requires alienation from people who operate with an old mindset and don't understand its change. It requires a period where you're no longer who you were, but you are not yet who you want to be. This is deep existential discomfort. Most give up at this point. Go back to the old mindset because it is familiar and comfortable, even if it produces bad results. I prefer misery gives the uncertainty of transformation. But if you hold on, if you get through the uncomfortable valley, you emerge with a mindset that makes success inevitable. Not immediate, but inevitable. Because you will consistently make better decisions. You will see opportunities that others don't see. You will take intelligent risks that others avoid. It will persist where others give up. And over years, this compounds into results that appear magical to outside observers, but are simply the mathematical consequence of consistently applied different mindsets. Here's my ultimatum to you. Your techniques don't matter if your mindset is broken. You can learn to invest, to budget, to negotiate, to undertake. But if you operate with a scarcity, victim, short-term, consumer, employee, fixed, cost, price, zero-sum, deserving, and conformity mindset, you will fail. You will know what to do and not do, or do it and sabotage it, or temporarily succeed and destroy. You need to fix mindset first. This is foundation work. It's boring. It's slow. There is no instant gratification. But it's the only work that really matters, because everything else is built on that. And if you don't do this work, You will spend the rest of your life blaming external factors for results that are a direct consequence of how you think. You will die poor, blaming the system instead of recognizing that the mental operating system was corrupt from the beginning. The choice is yours. Continue operating with the standard mentality that society has installed and expect different results. Or do the brutal work of examining and rebuilding foundational mindsets and creating the possibility of different outcomes. But don't pretend it's about technique. Don't pretend it's about knowledge. It's about mindset. It always was. And you will need the courage to admit it and the humility to do something about it. Most have neither one nor the other. You have?